okay, we're here to solve that problem.
Right.
Okay. But whether you have a will or you have nothing at all, your assets are going to go through probate because when you pass, they're going to be in your individual name.
Okay.
The solution to that is that we establish a trust for you,
Right.
and the assets transfer from Hal Sweasey into the Hal Sweasey Trust.
Right.
Now, when you die and the law says Hal Sweasey, the man, what's he entitled to? The answer is Hal?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Everything's owned by the trust.
Yeah.
Now we don't have a probate.
Right.
We don't have the need for that.
Welcome, everybody, to the San Luis Obispo Real Estate Podcast with not the one and only. I always say that. Sorry, Hal.
Yeah.
There's a few of you. So, Hal Sweasey, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Do I look this way now because we're turned? Is this good?
You know, musical chair. I try to keep you on your toes.
I'm getting nervous just staring at it.
Yeah, I know. They haven't seen him yet. It's just you on the camera right now. It's just you and I.
Okay.
We gotta
here.
let everybody know that there's somebody missing today.
Yes, John Turner.
John Turner. He's having a rough life right now. We're in.
Well, what are those shirts he wears? Wren
Spooner.
Wren Spooner. Thank you.
Yeah.
He's at the home of the Wren Spooner.
Right.
Yeah.
The home of the Wren Spooner. I was there. I remember I sent you a picture when I was there.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
Right.
So anyway, we need to get going. We got a lot of information to get here. So let's get rolling.
It's going to be way more serious without John here. Just letting people know.
I know.
Yeah.
Or less.
So we have the famous Ed Attala here of Attala Law. Ed is a I'm going to say it wrong. What kind of law do you practice?
I am the quintessential small town lawyer. I do estate planning.
Right.
I do a bunch of real estate work.
Yes.
And then I help people form entities and contracts and buy-sell agreements.
Okay.
But a large portion of my practice is estate planning, trust administration, probate,
right,
things of that nature. And then I litigate in those areas as well.
Okay. I didn't know you did that much. I thought you just specialized in what I needed. So
yeah, I answered the
Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. And you're born in, well, not born, but close to born here.
Right. I
Moved
went
here
to preschool here.
Preschool, okay.
Four years old. Graduated from Cal Poly.
No, from preschool.
Graduated preschool.
Moved on. Okay.
Made it through preschool, elementary school, San Luis High.
Yeah.
Graduated Cal Poly.
Tiger and a Mustang.
Tiger and a Mustang.
Okay.
Local kid.
He bleeds black and gold and green and gold.
That's correct.
Okay.
And then went off to law school. Went off to work in Orange County. Then went back to law school. Worked for a bit up in Alaska.
That's right.
I'm licensed to practice law in Alaska uniquely.
Yeah.
And then made my way home eventually, and super glad to be, have my own office here in San Luis Obispo, helping many residents here in town that I've known for years.
Generations.
Some new friends too.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. That's
Feel
cool.
very fortunate. Count my blessings.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would hope to have that path, maybe not in law, but go off, figure things out, and be able to come back and have a place you can make a living here.
Honestly, very lucky.
Yeah.
To be back in my hometown.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what we think would be valuable for our listeners, and that is, someone's passed away, and we'll talk maybe first about, somebody dies and then they go through probate. I'm going to use the terms loosely. You're the expert. So let's talk about somebody passed away and they have a home, right? And so what's the process here if it has to go into probate, or what do families need to know?
Oftentimes, I get called by a realtor, Hal, like yourself, and you've got a home ready to go into escrow, and somebody finally pulls title to the home and they realize that the home is in mom or dad's name who's passed away. Okay, and what that means is mom and dad aren't here to sign the deed.
Right.
So we're going to have a probate, more than likely. Okay.
You get calls that late? People don't know?
Believe it or not, where they've got a buyer.
You don't say a realtor like Hal Sweasey, because we wouldn't have waited that. We would have found out beforehand.
Except for Hal Sweasey, it does happen.
Yes. Okay.
But it can happen where, the neighbor, mom and dad die, and the neighbor across the street says, hey, sure, would love to buy that house. Mm-hmm. I've got kids in the area, or, extended family, or we've always loved the house. And you get into a deal, and you're in escrow before you know it, and someone finally pulls the deed. Escrow's pulling the deed, and they do a preliminary title report, and they go, hey, the person who owns this home is deceased.
No one has the authority to sell it.
Nobody has the ability to sign the deed to transfer ownership. Okay. What you need typically
is that a problem?
That's going to be a problem to close escrow.
Yeah, right.
And what you're going to need is letters testamentary. Now, In California, the law regarding probate, and that's what that would be. Probate is the process of handling the affairs of deceased people and marshaling their assets through probate so that creditors get paid and everybody gets notice, and then the court distributes the property to the rightful heirs. And that happens if you have a will or if you have nothing at all. You die intestate, which is without a will. Okay. But in California, as of April 1st, 2025, the values for when probate is required have increased in California. It is now, if you have more than $208,850 worth of assets, or a new exclusion is, it is the primary residence of the decedent and it's worth $750,000 or less.
Okay.
So a good exclusion, kind of a difficult exclusion to meet on the Central Coast here. Not too much for sale below $750,000.
If you own a home or much of, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. We don't have any homes below that.
But probate's the process where the deceased assets move through probate. Creditors make claims against the assets. Basically, assets are sold, homes, businesses, and the estate gets boiled down to a nest egg, and then it's distributed among the decedent's heirs.
Okay. I'm going to just jump ahead because I know that is probably not an ideal situation. Like if I'm talking to, if you're talking to my kids and I pass away tomorrow, if they have to go through probate, let's talk about time and cost and options.
Right. It is generally a process that you want to avoid and you want your family members to avoid. In California, probate...
Can I interrupt you?
Sure.
Because I'm always curious about this. Of the amount of business you do as a reflection of what's happening in the marketplace, what percentage turns out probate versus other vehicles? Because probate's kind of not the ideal, and we're going to say why in a minute, but is it half, 20%, just ballpark?
I mean, it's a small part of my practice because...
But just the estate practice? The
estate or any part of my practice, it's not a huge part of my practice.
Okay.
I do have quite a few probates going on because I'm licensed in California, so I can file a probate in any county in California.
Right.
Okay. But probate, generally speaking, is a process you want to avoid.
Yeah.
For the cost of a simple estate plan, by having a trust and moving the title of that asset from Hal Sweasey's individual name into the Sweasey family trust, we've avoided probate.
Right.
Because when you die, the law says Hal Sweasey, the man, what is he entitled to? Right. And if the answer to that question exceeds $208,850,000, we've got a probate.
Yeah.
And, obviously the primary resident exclusion as well. But generally speaking, you're going to have a probate. Well, probates, one, they're public, right? Because you're filing an inventory and appraisal in court. Okay. So anybody and their brother can go look and see what does Hal Sweasey have.
Yeah.
Not so significant when it's a house, but most people who own businesses don't want the value of their business going through probate for their competitors or anyone else to see.
Right.
Right. It's time consuming because we're in the court now. And if you file your petition in court, it doesn't get heard tomorrow. You're 6 weeks out, and sometimes much further than that. If it's a final petition, you could be months and months out. I would say realistically, a probate in California would last anywhere between 12 on a very, very quick probate, 12 months to more likely 18 to 24 months, depending on the court deadlines and the complexities of the probate.
So let's use an average example. Somebody's got a little retirement account and some money, financial money, and they've got a house worth on average in San Luis $1 million. Okay. And it has to go through probate. From the time let's say it's me, I pass away today, and it's going to take 12 to 18 months before someone can actually get those monies to the heirs. Go through probate?
Probably more like 18 to 24 months, to be honest with you.
You're kidding.
No.
I was thinking like 6.
Oh, no, it's not 6 months.
Wow.
For sure, it's not going to be 6 months.
Is that changed because the courts and
the courts are pretty congested.
Okay.
And they're doing the best they can getting people in and out of that process. It does not benefit the court to go on for 24 months. It doesn't benefit anybody, frankly, to go on for that long. But don't forget, when you get into probate, you're talking about simple assets. We've got a house, and not a retirement account, but we've got a house and a couple bank accounts, sure. And we're $1 million, $1.5 million. Yeah. Okay. Simple assets. Well, don't forget, you've got to input the family dynamic. right? So that could take longer. If mom and dad don't have a will and you're the oldest son and you petition the court and you say, I'd like to be the executor or rather the administrator of the estate.
Right.
And one of your siblings goes,
I don't
not Hal.
Yeah.
Right. Hal was arrested for embezzling. Right.
Yeah, again. Yeah.
Then there's going to be an objection. Well, the court's going to put a hearing date out there, and that's how you get to 18 or 24 months, is that it's not streamlined.
So
Okay.
let me make sure I'm hearing you right. One important thing first, have a will.
Well, have a trust.
Okay, so we're going to skip. Yeah, so
we'll
to
talk
avoid
about that.
probate, because it's costly. Like for that example, let's call it a house for $1 million and other things worth $500,000 that would have to be in probate.
Correct.
Right? What's like the cost for something like that?
Probate
ballpark.
ranges, it's a statutory fee. It's not hourly. Okay. And the cost of probate is based on the value of the assets going through probate.
Sure.
Okay. So for example, the statute starts out $4,000 for the first 100.
Okay.
$3,000 for the second 100, and $1,000 for every 100,000 up to $1 million, and then it goes on and on and on.
So 7,000. That's
So
that's
a
10
million,
grand.
$1 million probate.
Yep.
The statutory fee,
Right.
Hal, is $23,000.
Oh,
The statutory fee for $1 million probate. Now, that $23,000 is paid to the attorney and to the executor.
Okay.
So it's really a $46,000 statutory fee, and that does not include the costs, which include the filing fees and the probate referee and everything else that you pay to be in court.
Wow.
And it doesn't include any extraordinary services. So, for example, if we sell the house during probate, if there's a business that we dissolve,
Yeah.
right? If there's a petition that we have to draft regarding the character of the property, is it separate property or community property? Those are all extraordinary fees. I get paid my hourly rate to resolve the extraordinary fees or issues,
Yep.
as well as the statutory fee. So probate is absolutely a process you want to avoid. It's based on the value of the assets, not on the time it takes to do the work.
I understand. So this is really helpful for me because I'll sit down with someone about selling their house, a couple, maybe, my age, whatever it is. And I go, okay, well, is the property just in your two names? Yep. Okay. You guys don't have a trust? Okay. Well, you might want to consider that. I can't give legal advice, but it's like, but I had no idea on $1 million, which is the average price of a home in this county, basically, that's 23,000 twice, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, for $1 million of assets going through probate,
And then you're waiting 12 months and you put your family through that. So
12 to 24
okay,
months.
so I was okay. What else did I?
And
so
the other
timeline,
thing
the
that you
cost-
said,
Yeah.
Hal, was so you need a will. A will leaves all the assets in your individual name. Okay, so whether you have a will or you have no estate plan documents at all,
Nothing.
which is actually most common, where you have
Just
nothing at all. Nothing
Nobody.
at all.
You just die and
You have nothing.
see you guys. Okay.
Or people come into my office all the time and I say, Hal, show me your previous estate plan documents. And you go, I haven't drafted any.
Okay.
And I go, okay, we're here to solve that problem.
Right.
Okay. But whether you have a will or you have nothing at all, your assets are going to go through probate because when you pass, they're going to be in your individual name.
Okay.
The solution to that is that we establish a trust for you,
Right.
and the assets transfer from Hal Sweasey into the Hal Sweasey Trust.
Right.
Now, when you die and the law says Hal Sweasey, the man, what's he entitled to? The answer is Hal?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Everything's owned by the trust.
Yeah.
Now we don't have a probate.
Right.
We don't have the need for that. And the administration of a probate doesn't have a statutory fee. So you get it's
A trust.
It's a trust
Doesn't have a fee.
does not have the trust administration does not require a statutory fee. It's private.
Right.
Okay. And it's less time consuming, generally speaking, unless there's a dispute. We're going to sell assets, make sure everybody knows that we've paid all the bills, paid all the taxes.
Right.
Maybe even do an accounting form if they want, and then distribute.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
The trustee might get paid, but they're not going to get paid like it's probate,
Yeah.
where there's a statutory fee and that's it.
Yeah, I always kind of my brain moves to solutions. But when I think about the probate, even if mom and dad pass away, we go through probate, I have the authority, I'm the owner, I get it sold, and then it goes in, the money's in a probate, there's in a different account. It still doesn't mean you're getting the money right away, right?
No.
Yeah.
No,
so this is
you're
a really
depositing
long
to
an
an account that's an estate account, not a Hal Sweasey account, an estate account. You're the executor.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
So
and the court, by the way, nothing gets distributed until the court says yes. So the court is going to approve the statutory fees. They're going to approve any extraordinary fees. They're going to approve the cost for the probate. They're going to approve an accounting if it's been presented.
Yep.
And then they're going to approve the distribution plan. And then you're going to get what you get. But you've got to get a court order to distribute. So it could take quite some time.
So I'm glad we're having this conversation because I didn't realize how expensive and time consuming it was.
Right. And public.
Right.
Right. It's a process. If you're educated about the probate process, it's a process you want to avoid.
Okay. So we're going to move to what I thought we'd talk about a little bit less, but this is, that's enough information for me to tell people you're just making a huge mistake if you have any wealth, a home, what else? Bank accounts, money in an account.
Brokerage accounts, investment accounts,
but
run a business.
Up to 200 and some thousand roughly, right? If it's less than that, it just goes to someone. But we're not going to talk about that.
It's a summary proceeding.
Okay.
But
quicker.
Probate starts at $208,850 in California, and there's another exclusion now for your primary residence,
right?
Up to $750,000.
Okay.
But we're talking about assets that if you're married and you're working and you have a home and you've had a home in San Luis Obispo, or you have a rental property,
right? An
investment property, a vacation home, you're over.
Yeah,
it's a probate.
So what's involved in getting a trust?
There's all kinds of solutions for a trust.
Okay.
In my opinion, the best solution is to hire an attorney who can help you with your unique circumstance, whether it's you have a special needs child or you want to hold your assets in trust for the benefit of your children until they're 30 rather than distribute at 18 or 21 or 23. I don't know about you, but if my parents had distributed to me at 18 years old, college would have been off the table. It was not going to happen. Europe would have been on the table, but not college, right? So a trust gives you the flexibility to deal with life issues that you have. You might have a kid that is a great kid, a hardworking kid, but every dollar they put in their pocket, they spend it.
Right.
Well, you're not going to leave that kid $1 million of your estate. You might stagger their distribution. So they take a percentage at 30 and a percentage at 35 and a percentage at 40, or assets get held in trust for them. Right. It's also a creditor device where if you're not distributing to them, if that child owes money, their creditors can't get at that distribution if there's a spendthrift provision. So there's a number of reasons to have a trust. And actually, let me educate you about another reason. One reason is to avoid probate. Okay. The other reason to have a trust is that when you put your money into this trust, if you have health issues later on in life and you have dementia or Alzheimer's, which are becoming more and more frequently diagnosed, and you need some help, your successor trustee of your trust steps up to manage those assets for you, but the trust requires that they be spent on for your benefit, for your care. Right. So it's a terrific device to have, or instrument to have, to protect you as you age.
Right.
So that the person who steps in to manage your assets, there are specific rules about how they're going to spend the money.
Sure.
You don't just have a bank account and your kid goes on as a joint owner. Right. And the kid's driving around in a new Corvette and you're like,
and you're sleeping.
I'm sitting in the corner in a urine-soaked diaper. That's not good. Right? So there are other reasons to have a trust. The main reason is to avoid probate, but there are other reasons, one of which is the assets are going to be used to care for you as you age.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So the first step is really get some advice. Okay.
Yeah. If you're just looking for forms, and everybody tells me now, I come see you, but I could do that estate plan with AI. It's okay. I've litigated with a few people that they're getting their pleadings from AI, and you better check those pleadings because they're not that great. And not that AI isn't a terrific solution for some things, but what you're paying me for isn't necessarily the form will. You can go to Barnes & Noble and buy the estate planning kit if you want the form.
Right.
Okay. What you're paying for is the advice that I'm going to give you on how to set up your estate plan so that it meets all your needs.
Well, and I've been through this process with you.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was just me, but I got to imagine most people don't like thinking about their own death.
No.
And their own end and what happens after that.
Right.
So, it'd be like, oh, here's an instruction book on how to replace your heart. I'll do it fine until something goes awry, right? So
Right.
I get where that nuance helps, because you ask questions we never, ever would have considered. Right. So, okay. Well, gosh, I think we're getting close to our time here. So, Ed, couple things. One, do you have time if somebody has questions or needs help with the estate plan? So how do people reach you? What's the best way to reach you?
Probably the best way to reach me is you can reach me you can call my office. The number's 805-543-1212, or my website at attalalaw.com has a question and answer where you could submit a question or request some help.
Yeah.
But probably the best way is just a phone call, and the paralegals are trained to take down your information and schedule a time where we can talk. Mm-hmm. And many times they can tell you, you want to set up an estate planning appointment, or
so. Okay. Attala, ATTALA.com. Yeah. Attala.
And the website is ATTALALAW.com.
Law.com. Okay.
Attala Law.
Attala Law. Okay. There you go. Good. What, kind of in finishing up here, what advice would you give to someone, let's say my parents are a little bit older, might need some medical help coming up, or, the end is nearish or whatever, or, an adult that's thinking about their kids and goes, oh my gosh, we better, look into getting a trust because we don't want our kids to go through this and have this complicated, expensive, cumbersome thing to do. What advice would you give?
Honestly, I would say go meet with an attorney, and make sure it's an attorney that's going to speak to you so that you understand what's going on.
Yeah.
We've all sat in meetings, whether it's for tax advice or maybe it's real estate advice, where people are speaking over your head and you're misunderstanding or bored to tears.
Right.
But it is a very good idea to set up an estate plan, which not only includes the trust, but an advanced healthcare directive, so someone can make a healthcare decision for you.
Okay.
Someone has the authority to pull the plug if, God forbid, you're in that life circumstance.
Right.
It's a power of attorney. It's a will. It's a certification of trust assets. It's sound advice that you need, not just for your benefit, but truly as a gift for your family.
Yeah. I've seen it on the other side where I see it, and oftentimes when somebody passes away and there's resources available financially, you don't see people's best side, right? It can come out. So
it can.
And if there's, I just like how specific you can make things, so there's no, no additional discussion. There's no confusion, right? So clarity is really important. Well, Ed, this has been great. Glad to have here on the show. You've helped tons of our clients. I think people would be lucky to have your information and your knowledge. So thanks for showing up.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
I look forward to it.
All right.
Well, you just took my job away from me, Hal. You just closed it out for us.
Oh, sorry. I forgot what happens next.
No, actually, personally, my mom is going to be probably giving you a call, and we're kind of going through this too. Like you said, the other side kind of happened in my family a little bit with my grandfather passing, some assets and fighting for it and that kind of stuff. So we want to make sure that, that doesn't happen, it's just preparation, and just listening to all this is making me thinking, man, I need to call my mom. What I mean? So
sure.
We're headed down that path.
Because not much of us seen it, right? You don't see, growing up, my grandparents were much older. I didn't even see people get older and, maybe they lose track of things or whatever. So there's so much to plan for that we have no interest in talking about, but it's really important. So
exactly.
Yeah. Right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Hopefully we gave everybody some good information. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us, all that good stuff on YouTube. And then Mr. Kingman, what do you got?
And I just had a question for you regarding some of the content that was brought up earlier. You talked about that $46,000 fee. How much better is it to, there are people in the world that kick the can down the road, and they kick the can down the road until it's too late. I mean, how much of a benefit is it for people to talk to you or somebody like you about the trust? I mean, just the difference in their lives and their family.
Well, I'll tell you, Jeff, when people come into any attorney's office, they're usually concerned, rightfully so, sometimes about the expense of seeing an attorney. It can be thousands of dollars. But in my experience, the cost of establishing a good estate plan is significantly less than what the cost of probate is going to be, and not just the time and public nature of probate, but the actual dollars out of pocket. And to give your family that gift where you're going to spend a couple $1,000s, I would say, and it's very hard to generalize because estate plans, they differ because of either the complexity of the assets or often the family dynamic that needs to be planned for. And then, throw in a special needs child or some other issues that people deal with in life. Because let's face it, life gets messy if you're living. So if you're living it well, it gets messy. And, multiple wives, children, blended families, it can be a lot to plan for. But a good estate plan could probably be anywhere for a single person to a married couple, anywhere from $3,000 to say $10,000 if a business is involved. And that money pales in comparison to the cost of a probate.
And the gift that you're giving to those that have to deal with it after the fact.
Oh man,
I can imagine.
It's a mess, Jeff.
Yeah.
Or it can be.
Yeah.
It can be. So just some responsible planning that includes maybe even a burial instruction or something, so that your family is well advised about what you want, not only how you want to be laid to rest, but also how you want your estate administered and who gets what. It goes a long way to keeping your family intact when you're gone.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good question. Really good question.
All right.
All right. Well, that's it. Any last questions while we have them here?
I think
Going once, going twice.
deal.
That's it.
All right.
All right.
Thanks very much.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to everybody next week.
Sounds good.